Hey guys, today on JD Cars we're going to be installing some rock lights and interior LED lights on this 2014 6.7. What do you think, Chooch?
I think this is going to be sick.
So as you can see here, the truck is currently up on jack stands so we can more easily access inside the wheel wells. And we're gonna have Chooch here pull off the rear wheels. Alright, so we can now easily get in here and we'll probably be mounting the light somewhere in this vicinity here. Our mounting surface is all metal, obviously, so we'll be using some 1/2-inch self-tapping screws to secure the rock lights inside the fender here. So we've got our rock light securely mounted here. Now we've got to take care of this wire because we don't want any wiring mess here, and honestly we don't want any wire showing at all. We just want to make it look like the light is coming down out of the wheel well without actually seeing the light source. To secure the wire, we're going to be using some more self-tapping screws and some cable clamps. These are like $3 at the hardware store, and we also picked up some stainless self-tapping screws as well. I'm going to start off by bringing the wire in towards the inner lip of the fender here. Then we're going to run it down, across, and towards the frame, and we'll run the wire up the frame towards our control box. Alright, so as you can see, we have the cable very neatly routed here, and I just fed through a cable snake from the rear of the cab there, through the frame, and as you can see it comes out right here. I've ran the cable from our cable clamps down towards the frame, through this brake line bracket, and we're going to pull it through the cable snake up to our control box location. So here you can see where our cable came out of the frame, and it's very convenient because right here, this rubber grommet is where we're going to be running the cable into the cab to our control box. So we're going to pull up the carpeting, pop out the grommet, make a hole in it, run the cable through, and before we pop the grommet back in, we're going to run our front rock light cable back, and we'll run it through the same hole. In order to access this location, we have to remove two 10mm bolts retaining our rear sub here. Once you do so, you can disconnect the quick connect connector, remove the sub, and our wire location will be right under the carpet here. We just have to pull it up a bit. And there's that rubber grommet we were looking at from underneath. Also, while we're here, we're just gonna pull up this door trim right here. Alright, at this point, the rear rock lights are fully installed and the wiring is all run. So we're going to throw the rear wheels back on, lower this down, and we'll jack up the front to install the front rock lights. Okay, the installation process in the front here is going to be similar but a little bit different because we have the felt liners up here, and you really don't want to be drilling self-tapping screws into the engine bay area because you risk puncturing or damaging something. So we're going to have to pull back the fender liner here, and we're going to have to run some nuts and bolt through the fender liner, secure the rock light here. I am going to get the rock light roughly into position here. I'm going to try to ever so slightly mark where it needs to go so that we have an idea of where to drill when we remove the fender liner. But you do want to be cautious. You should not go through the fender liner without knowing what's on the other side. As you can see, I just held the rock light in place and used my drill to mark some holes. As you can see, I did not go through, I did not puncture the liner because I'm not sure what's on the other side and I don't want to break anything. So to remove the fender liner on this F-350, we've got 10 bolts with these big washers, one in the rear, one in the top, and one in the front. And last but not least, along the edge, we've got some tiny hex head bolts. I believe they're 5mm maybe. I don't have a socket that small, so I'm gonna use an adjustable wrench, but we've got a couple of those along the inside of the fender here. Alright, at this point I've removed the fender liner enough that I can access the area for our 2 holes here, and I can drill through without damaging anything. So I'm going to drill those 2 holes, take our bolts, run them in from the top, and we'll secure the light with 2 lock washers and 2 nuts. Now with our rock light installed, all we have to do is reinstall our fender liner and route that wire to our control box location. I'm going to reinstall the fender off camera and I'll show you my wire routing, but just to give you a better idea of what we're doing for our control box location, we're bringing our wires through that grommet hole that I showed you earlier, and we're bringing it under the carpet into the center of the car. We're going to be powering the whole unit by tapping into this cigarette lighter right here on the back of the center console, and everything's going to be hidden behind the housing here. Alright, so our fender liner is reinstalled here. As you can see, our wire goes just behind the fender liner here, and I ran the wire on the inside of this bolt here. So the wire comes right down here behind the fender liner, comes out right here as you can see. Now we're going to run it inside the frame back to that grommet. So here we are under the car. You can see the wire comes out right here behind the fender liner. We're gonna go in this hole of the frame, and the other side of the frame is open as you can see, so you can see what we're doing, routing it back to the grommet there. Alright, so sort of hard to see here, but we have our wire coming through the frame, comes along here. It's tucked in really well. Zip tied it to existing wires and hoses here, all the way back, pops out of the frame right here and goes up through our grommet into the cab. So we've stuck on our RGB light strips under the dash here and on the sides of the seats. We made a slit for the wire there, and our rock light wires obviously come through that grommet. All our wires come to the center of the cab here where we made a small slit in the carpet and we pulled all the wires through. So now all we have to do is splice into our 12-volt cigarette lighter for a power source, and we'll mount up our control box. So by taking a pry tool or a flathead, you can easily pop off the 2 cup holders and then this back panel of the center console, where you'll find your 110-volt outlet and your 12-volt cigarette lighter outlet. These 2 are quick release connectors. Wire splices to tap into the 12-volt, and the 110 is untouched, but we have our 12-volt tap going into the power box here, and we have all of our wires, our rock lights and interior lights going into the inputs of this controller here. All of them are coming out of the center hole that we made here in the carpet. So now we're gonna zip tie and neaten up all these wires, and we'll tuck the controller up in this vicinity here. So we just connected the controller to Chooch's phone and testing out the lights here. As you can see, the interior lights look pretty sweet, as well as the wheel lights. It's pretty bright in here right now, so it doesn't look super bright on camera here, but I can tell you these are some bright LEDs. What do you think, Chooch?
I think this is gonna be sick.
Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this video installing rock lights and interior LEDs on Chooch's F-350. This is a fun installation and I hope you guys enjoy the occasional truck videos. Also, just a quick note for all of you following the BMW E90 auction on eBay. At the time of this video uploading, there's going to be about 36 hours remaining on the eBay auction. It's ending this Saturday, November 17th at 9:30 p.m. If you're interested in that, be sure to stay tuned in. Be sure to leave a like below and subscribe if you've yet to do so, and I'll see you guys next time on JD Cars.